Welcome to this presentation of Understanding Governmental Finance, Part 1, The Basics. This is presented by PolicePay.net. I'm Ron York. Welcome. The purpose of this presentation is to help the person who has little or no knowledge of municipal accounting or governmental accounting. This is not for somebody that's in the business of producing financial statements, so it's the kindergarten version of governmental finance. First thing that we need to understand is that there's two documents you always hear talked about: the budget and the audit. The budget is a forecast made by somebody prior to the year beginning. The audit is a document prepared after the year has ended. Now, obviously, the first one, the budget, doesn't know what's going to happen because nobody can predict the future. And the second one, the audit, knows what's happened because it's made after the fact. The budget is only a forecast, nothing more. It may be a good forecast or it may be a bad forecast, but it's a forecast. It is not what happens. The audit is what really happened. It's known after the fact. It's able to be determined because the events have already occurred. The budget is prepared in advance. The audit is prepared after the fact. The audit is commonly referred to as the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, CAFR, which we pronounce CAFR. The budget can easily be manipulated because you can't disprove the future. It's impossible. I can't, you can't, no one else can disprove it. If I say it's going to snow on July the 4th, until July the 4th shows up, you can't prove me wrong, even though you may think I'm an idiot. You cannot prove it until July the 4th has come and gone. The audit is very hard to manipulate. It's based on real data, events that have already occurred, many people have witnessed. The budget cannot be verified. No way to verify the future. None. Zilch. The audit can be verified because it's about the past. You cannot rely on the budget, but you can rely on the audit. Trust the audit, but beware of the budget. There are two parts to local governments. Governmental activities, which are activities that are financed through taxes. There are activities that cannot pay their own way. There's no way the police department or the fire department can charge enough in fees to pay its own way. They're supported by tax revenue. These are called governmental activities. The second thing is business activity. That's usually the utilities. Could be a golf course, could be an airport, could be a swimming pool or something, but it is something that is self-sustaining, that charges fees from its customers, and that's how it's financed. It does not require tax revenue to finance it. Normally these are run at a break-even or small profit, and we can normally ignore them unless they're being abused or building up money or hiding money, but normally that's not the case. So let's go back over this again. Governmental activities financed by taxes. Business activities financed by user fees. What matters to us in our discussion is governmental. That's the part we want to talk about, is the governmental part. Governmental side of the government is divided into four types of funds: the general fund, special revenue funds, debt service funds, capital projects funds. The general fund is the largest and most important fund in the city. It can spend its money for virtually any legal purpose. Special revenue funds are funds for money that comes with strings attached. For example, a grant to build a fire station. That money has to be built for a fire station. It can't be spent somewhere else, so therefore it's accounted for separately in a special revenue fund. Debt service fund. This is a clearinghouse for paying bond payments. We borrow money, we have to make payments. Most of the agreements require that money be set aside in a separate account, and then the bond payments are paid out of that. That's called a debt service fund. Capital projects funds. This is where when the government borrows money, they put it into this fund and then they pay for it out of this fund. For example, if they're going to borrow money to build a new fire station, the proceeds from the sales of the bonds would go into the capital projects fund. The capital projects fund would then pay all the expenses that were required to pay for the new fire station. Generally, the only thing that we're interested in is the general fund, unless one of these other three types are being abused. We do look at those to see if they are, but normally they're not. Most people use them correctly. So we need to function on one thing. The general fund. The general fund is the most important. Always keep in mind, general fund, most important fund. Let's recap all this real quick like. There is the budget and the audit. The budget is an estimate. An audit is the documented, verifiable record. You cannot rely on a budget, but you can rely on the audit. There are two pieces to local government. Governmental activities financed by taxes and business activities financed by user fees. The governmental portion is the part we want to look at. The governmental portion is divided into 4 categories: general fund, special revenue funds, debt service funds, capital projects funds. So this is the end of part 1, and this is the basic training. I look forward to seeing you when we talk about part 2 and take you a little further down the road.